My name is Amelia. I'm 28 years old. I never planned to fall in love this way. It all began as a joke, a mischievous prank by my best friend, Chloe. She always insisted I needed to meet someone new. One evening, she snatched my phone, giggled, and sent a voice message to a complete stranger in a defunct group chat we'd both long forgot. "Hello, mystery man," she chirped into the phone. "My friend Amelia is single and terribly bored." I was mortified. I told her to delete it immediately. She just laughed and said, "Who knows? Maybe he'll reply." I was certain he wouldn't. I put it out of my mind, but the next day he replied. His name was Liam. His voice was warm and reassuring. He said, "Hi, Amelia, I'm Liam. Thanks for the surprise." It made me smile. I didn't know what to say. I listened to his message twice. I waited a whole day before replying. I wasn't sure if I should. I asked Chloe for advice. She urged me to go for it. So I sent a message back. I kept it brief. "Hi, sorry about that weird message. My friend was joking. But hello." That was it. I didn't expect anything more, but Liam sent another voice note. He said he liked my voice. He said the joke didn't bother him. He asked how my day was, and that's how it all started. We sent short messages back and forth, voice notes and texts, every single day. We didn't discuss anything profound at first, just the simple things. The weather, what we ate for lunch, the songs we were listening to. He was a fan of old jazz. I preferred soft piano music. He sent me a song called "Autumn Leaves Once." I listened to it that night while brushing my hair, a smile forming on my face for no apparent reason. He was kind, funny, and soft-spoken. I started checking my phone more often, waiting for his name to pop up. I didn't know him, not in the traditional sense, but talking to him felt effortless. Weeks turned into months. We were still communicating through messages and voice notes, but they grew longer, more intimate. He told me about his job. He managed a small bookshop in another city. He had a passion for old books. He told me about his favorite, a novel about two people who exchanged letters during a war. He admitted the book had made him cry. He asked if I liked to read. I told him I did, but I mostly read stories online. He laughed and called me Modern Amelia. I liked that nickname. No one had ever given me one before. One evening, after 3 months of talking, Liam asked, "Can I call you?" I froze. We had never spoken live before, only through recorded messages. I replied, "Yes." My heart hammered against my ribs. I didn't even have time to brush my hair. I just answered the phone. His voice was clearer now, even warmer. He said, "Hey." I said, "Hi." And then we both burst out laughing. That night we talked for 3 hours about everything and nothing at all. It felt as if I'd known him my entire life. After that, we spoke on the phone every night. One night Liam said, "I think I'm falling for you." I didn't know what to say. A warmth spread through my chest. I replied, "Me too." And it was the absolute truth. I had never seen his face. I had never met him in person. But I knew his heart, and he knew mine. We were close, closer than many people who see each other daily. Our words were the only bridge connecting us, but that bridge felt incredibly strong. We decided to meet. After 5 months, we chose a small town halfway between his city and mine. I was a bundle of nerves. What if the real person didn't match the voice? What if he didn't like the real me? But the moment I saw him at the station, all my fears vanished. He looked just like his voice sounded, gentle, calm, and kind. He was holding a single flower. "For you," he said. "You're real," I whispered. He smiled. "So are you." We spent 2 days together, walking, talking, and sitting in cozy cafes. We didn't need grand plans, just time with each other. He told me about his dreams. He wanted to be a writer one day. I told him I used to write poetry in high school. He said, I'd love to read them sometime. That night in our small hotel room, we sat on the floor sharing music from our phones. We didn't kiss, we didn't even touch much, but it felt more intimate than anything I had ever experienced. It felt like coming home. On the train ride back, I cried. He texted me the entire way. Don't cry, he wrote. I'm still with you. And he was, every day. Until one day he wasn't. Liam's messages stopped. First, it was a few hours of silence, then a full day, then 2. I sent him messages, I called him, there was no reply. I worried something terrible had happened. I waited. My heart began to ache with a deep physical pain. After 5 days, a single, short message arrived. I'm sorry, Amelia, I have to go away for a while. Please don't wait for me. That was all. I couldn't breathe. The words were a punch to the gut. I didn't understand. Why? What had happened? Was it something I did? I didn't sleep that night or the night after. I kept checking my phone, clinging to a desperate hope for another message. Nothing came. Chloe told me to let him go. She suggested maybe he wasn't who he said he was, but I knew Liam was real. He was the most real thing that had ever happened to me. Weeks passed, then months. I stopped talking about him, but he was a constant presence in my thoughts. Every voice note was still saved on my phone. I would listen to them sometimes, just to hear him say, "Modern Amelia," or laugh at one of his own jokes. I missed how he could make silence feel comfortable, not empty. I wrote him a letter, even though I had no address to send it to. I wrote, I miss you. I don't know what happened, but I hope you're okay. I hope you're safe. I still love you. I started taking long walks in the evenings. I would pass the same bench where we sat when we first met. I'd sit there watching people, listening to the world go by. I was quiet. Not exactly sad, just waiting. I didn't know for what, maybe for peace. Maybe for an answer. Then one day, something arrived. A letter. A real, physical letter. Not a message, not an email. A paper letter addressed to me. There was no return address. My hand trembled as I opened it. The first line read, Amelia, I never stopped loving you, but I had to disappear. My hands were shaking. My heart was pounding in my chest. I sank to the floor and read the letter slowly, absorbing every word. It was from Liam. His handwriting was small and neat, just like his voice. He wrote, I didn't want to hurt you, but I wasn't strong enough to stay. I found out something about myself, something completely unexpected. I was sick. The doctors told me it was serious. I didn't know how to tell you. I covered my mouth with my hand, a silent gasp escaping my lips. He had been sick all this time, and he never said a word. I read on. I wanted to protect you from the pain. I didn't want you to worry. I thought I could just disappear and make it easier on you. But the truth is, leaving you was the hardest thing I have ever done. Tears streamed down my face. I read the next part aloud in a whisper. I think about you every night. I still hear your voice. I still remember your laugh. I kept your letter. I read it too. Yes, I got it. Chloe helped me find it. She's the reason I knew you were still waiting. I looked at the letter again. There were small, faded watermarks on the paper. He had cried while writing it. I'm getting better, he wrote. The treatment is working slowly, but it's working. I want to see you again. I don't know when. I don't even know if you still want that. But I had to write to you because love doesn't just end like that. It stays. I clutched the letter to my chest. I didn't care about the time he was gone. I didn't care about the silence. All that mattered was that he was alive and he still loved me. I stood up and walked to the window. The world outside looked the same, but something inside me had fundamentally changed. Hope, a feeling I thought I'd lost, bloomed in my chest again. I wrote back to him that very night. I said, come back when you can. I'm still here. Not afraid. Days passed. I waited by the door like a child on Christmas morning. Every knock, every footstep in the hall made me jump. I cleaned the house twice a day, wanting everything to be perfect. I started making tea for two, even though I ended up drinking both cups myself. Chloe visited often. She would smile, but I could see the worry in her eyes. "Don't get your hopes up too high," she'd say gently. "You've waited long enough." I would just smile back. "I know," I'd say, "but love waits." One Sunday morning, I heard a soft knock on the door. I froze. I knew that knock. I ran to the door, my hands shaking so much I could barely turn the knob. I opened it slowly. And there he was, Liam, thinner, paler, but unmistakably him. His eyes were tired, but they held the same warmth I remembered. We didn't speak. We just looked at each other. Then I stepped forward and wrapped my arms around him. He held me tightly, as if he was afraid I'd dissolve into thin air. We stood like that for a long time, no words needed, just the rhythm of our breathing. We sat on the sofa. He looked around the room and smiled faintly. "It hasn't changed," he said. I looked at him. "You have," he nodded. "Yes, but some things stayed the same." He looked right at me when he said that. I made tea. He held the cup with both hands as if to warm them. "I missed your tea," he whispered. "I missed your voice," I whispered back. That evening, he told me everything. About the night he got the diagnosis, the hospital visits, the overwhelming fear. He said he didn't want me to see him weak. He didn't want me to carry the burden of his pain. I told him, "You were never a burden, you were my love." He took my hand. "I was so scared," he admitted, "but being without you scares me more." He stayed for 3 days. We talked, we laughed, and sometimes we cried. He showed me the medications he still had to take. He said, "I'm not fully recovered, but I'm better." I told him, "Then that's enough." On the second night, I read him my old poems from high school. He asked me to write a new one just for him. I smiled. "I already did." "It's in my heart." He smiled back. "Then read it to me." The morning he had to leave again, I walked with him to the station. He held my hand tightly the entire way. "I'll be back," he promised. "And next time it won't be for just 3 days." I kissed his cheek. "I'll wait," I said, "no matter how long it takes." He looked at me for a long moment. "You are my home, Amelia." After he left, I felt both full and empty. I had him back in my life, but I also missed him more deeply now because I knew the truth of his struggle. I wrote to him every week. He replied when he could. The letters became our lifeline. In one of his, he wrote, "Every time I feel exhausted, I think of your voice. It gives me strength." But life wasn't a simple love story. After a few months, the letters stopped again. This time, I didn't panic. I waited. I believed in him. And after 6 long weeks, another letter arrived. This one was short. It said, "Treatment is hard. I'm weak, but don't worry. You gave me your heart, and I carry it with me every single day." I knew then that love isn't just about physical proximity. It's about holding someone in your soul, even when they're far away, even when they're silent. Liam became a quiet part of my life, like a song that's always playing in the back of your mind. He wasn't beside me, but he was in everything I did. One day, I took a train to his town and went to the small bookshop. I stood outside, just wanting to feel closer to him. The owner, an older man, saw me and asked, "Are you Amelia?" I was startled. "Yes," I said. He smiled kindly and handed me a small, leather-bound notebook. "Liam told me to give this to you if you ever came." My hand shook as I took it. It was a diary. Inside, it was filled with letters, all written to me. Every single page began with my dearest Amelia. I sat on a nearby bench and read for hours. Some letters were written when he was scared, some when he felt strong, some when he was in pain. But every single one of them was filled with love. On the last page, he wrote, "If you are reading this, it means you came. You really came. Thank you. I love you more than words, more than poems, more than distance." And if I'm not there when you read this, please know I was yours completely. I closed the book. I didn't cry. I just held it to my chest and whispered, I love you too. I sat there until the sun went down, and in the quiet twilight, I felt him with me. I returned home with the notebook in my bag and Liam in my heart. The walk from the train station felt longer that day. The streets looked the same, but I was not the same person. That notebook had changed me. I had touched his words, held his feelings in my hands, and though I didn't know what the future held, I felt closer to him than ever before. Every evening, I read one letter from that book. I took my time. I wanted to feel every line, every word he had written for me. It was like hearing his voice again. He told me about the long nights in the hospital, the smell of antiseptic, the moments he felt strong, and the moments he almost gave up. He wrote that he thought of me when he was cold, picturing me sitting by a window with a cup of tea. He wrote, you are my light. When everything goes dark, I close my eyes and imagine your smile. Some days I laughed while reading. Other days I cried so hard I couldn't finish a page. But I always felt safe, his letters wrapped around me like a blanket. It became my routine. I woke up, I worked, I came home, I read one letter, and I waited. I waited for another knock, another message, another call, anything. One day, weeks later, my phone rang with an unknown number. My heart leaped. I answered. It wasn't Liam. It was his sister. Her voice was gentle. Amelia, she asked. Yes, I said. She paused. Liam wanted me to call you. I sat down heavily. He asked for you a lot, she continued. He held your notebook. He would smile when he looked at your photo. I closed my eyes. Is he okay? I asked, my voice trembling. She was silent for a moment. He passed away yesterday, she said softly. The room began to spin. My hands went cold. I felt like I was floating outside my own body. No, I whispered. No, no, no. But she kept talking. She said he had been strong for so long that he had kept fighting. She said he had asked for me, that even through the pain he had said my name. He held the notebook and said, give her my words. I don't remember the rest of the call. I don't remember what I said or how long I cried. All I remember is sitting on the floor, holding the phone and shaking. The person I loved most in the world was gone, but he had left me something no one else ever could. His heart, his truth, his voice captured in letters. The days that followed felt hollow. I didn't eat much. I didn't talk. Chloe stayed with me for a few nights. She cooked for me. She held my hand. She read some of the letters out loud when I couldn't bear to. He loved you, she said again and again. He really did. I knew it was true. That knowledge made the pain harder but also softer. A week later, another envelope arrived in the mail. Inside was a key and a note from his sister. He left something for you. It's at the bookshop. He wanted you to have it. The next day, I went back. The owner gave me a small wooden box. It was old but well kept. Inside were pages of unfinished writing, stories, poems, all from Liam. Some were dreams, some were fears, some were just memories he had written down. On top of the stack was one final letter sealed with red wax. It was for me. I opened it with shaking hands. It said, My Amelia, if you are reading this, then I'm not there anymore. I hate that, but I know you are strong. You always were. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for waiting. Thank you for every message, every word, every bit of hope you gave me. I want you to keep living. I want you to smile again. I want you to find happiness, even if it looks different now. I don't want to be your ending. I want to be your beginning. Please write again, share our story, not for me, for you, for love. I closed my eyes and cried. But this time the tears were warm. They were not just tears of sadness. There was love in them, too. I stayed in the bookshop for hours that day. I read everything he had written. I smelled the old paper. I felt his presence everywhere. He had left a piece of himself behind, and he wanted me to carry it forward. That night, for the first time in a long time, I wrote something new. Not a letter, a story, our story. I didn't care if anyone ever read it. I just needed to let it all out. The pain, the beauty, the love, it flowed from me like rain. Weeks passed, then months. The pain didn't vanish, but it transformed. It settled in my chest, a quiet, soft ache. But it didn't stop me from living, from smiling again, from breathing deeper. One evening, Chloe and I were having tea. She looked at me and said, "You seem different." I smiled. "I feel different." She reached across the table and touched my hand. "You were lucky, Amelia. You found a real love." I nodded. "Yes, even if it didn't last forever, it was real." I visit the bookshop sometimes. I sit in the back and read. I talk to the new owner who always speaks Liam's name with reverence. Sometimes I see customers pick up the old story notebook he left behind, and I wonder if they can feel the magic in his words. And I keep writing. Every story I write now holds a piece of Liam, a line, a thought, a memory. I carry him with me, not as a source of sadness, but as a source of love. He didn't stay, but he never really left me either. He became a part of who I am. Love doesn't always end with a kiss or a wedding. Sometimes it ends with a letter, with a voice that lives forever in your heart, with a journey of two souls that met by chance and stayed connected through everything. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share. More emotional and inspiring stories are coming soon.